the book of Lord Meher, title, Love Weeping, January 11th, 1927, Meher Baba's Prem Ashram. While Baba was discoursing to the boys and Mandali, who were seated on the platform outside his cabin, he disclosed, "Those whom I find worthy, I shall attract to the mistress of love, and to them I shall offer the elixir of life. Children, only truth is real. All else is worthless. Try to be diligent. I shall make pure gold from your mixed alloys." Suddenly, Abdullah saw an extraordinary flash of light coming from Baba's window. Outpowered, he fell down unconscious, and at Baba's direction, he was removed to the hospital. Inside the crypt cabin, Baba removed his own jacket, and although the weather was quite cold, his chest was covered with perspiration. Outwardly, he was perspiring as he inwardly worked to change Abdullah's consciousness. Baba later explained that he was working to raise Abdullah to the 6th plane. Resting at hospital, Abdullah's eyes looked vacant. He had lost his normal consciousness. He was actually seeing God, and he remained in this elevated state for 4 days. On the 3rd day of Abdullah's transformation, one of the Persian boys, Esfandiar Vesali, went to see him in the hospital. "Abdullah, do you know me?" Vesali asked. Abdullah, semi-conscious, opened his eyes, softly said, "Yes." "Who am I?" Vesali asked. "You are Baba," Abdullah replied. A matchbox was lying nearby, and Vesali picked out a match and held it up to him. "Do you see this? What is it?" "It is Baba," Abdullah answered. Whatever Abdullah was asked, he would answer with only one word, Baba. He saw Baba everywhere. On the 4th and 5th day, Abdullah began weeping bitterly, uncontrollably. The pain that filled his tears was indescribable. It cannot be compared to any suffering known in the world. Abdullah was starting to come down after seeing God from the plane of light and bliss. From his 6th plane state of consciousness, his mind was again entering the gross material world. And that experience of coming down tore him to pieces, causing him to cry piteously. Now we will look at the video of Abdullah Pakrawan. This is in the 70s, and he was being interviewed, and he will talk about, in his own words, his experience in Baba's Prem Ashram. Let's take a listen. Jai Baba.
Pakrawan was happy to meet Mr. Lak and Brother Dr. Shafa in Bandar Abbas, and today, at his request, I am telling a brief story how I went to India and joined MeherSepas of Meher Baba. I don't remember quite exactly the date, but I think it was something about beginning of 1927. I was living in Bandarilinga. I received a journal named Hablul Matin was printed in Calcutta. There was a notice in it that a high school, Babajan High School in Ahmednagar, accepts students free lodging and boarding. As I was, after getting more knowledge and study, therefore I intended without delay and went to Bombay and then to Ahmednagar and to the school. Hardly my age at that time when I joined the school was 16 to 17. At the beginning, At my own desire, I lived alone in separate huts that was given to me, not mixed with the boys in the ashram. But some time passed. One day, Baba himself saw me there at my tent, and he told me that you go up and join ashram. It's better for you. I said I have more time here for my studies, but anyhow, I agreed and joined the boys up. Well, we were going to school and studying for a few months. Then it was scheduled that every day a spiritual class to be held and some knowledge of the prophets and the saints was narrated and given to us. One day, Baba himself joined our class in the evening and he gave us a lecture about the love of God, and this can be done and given by the perfect master to the desirous pupil. And he pointed to me that if I like, he would make a gold of me. Well, the class was closed and many days passed. Then my experience in this line was that one day at the lunch time, I got changed in this way that I felt something like giddiness and whirling of all things around me, body, and crying highly, although it was not winter and I had no cold and I was not sick. And in the meantime that I was crying highly, I felt that I am seeing at distance a flame light, and then Baba was reported my case. He came up and ordered a rest for me, and then I rested. But from that moment onward, my whole nature was changed regarding the school and books and reading and all. I disliked it, and I didn't care about the body or the clothes or food and like this, and went into a meditation, all sat, sitting always in a corner and meditating. Till it lasted few months, that one evening I fell in a faint, something like that, when I was removed and taken to my room.
Abdullah later said, although people constantly try to collect worldly belongings with the only purpose of having all the things that the world can offer, considering them the cause of happiness, I understood that in truth, collecting them, beholding them, and keeping them is the cause of misery and depression, and that beholding the countenance of the beloved with the inner eye, or even with the external eyes, creates immense joy and increases happiness. At that time, I saw the blessed being in myself, in others, and all around continuously, without a break. It is very rare that to do great fortune, a perfect master with his infinite grace, mercy, and power raises one to such heights. In conclusion, I can say that I got a precious result from my life with Baba during those years in the ashram. Even though I departed from him lost in the inner consciousness of what I was allowed to experience by Baba, what I attained in the path, I was graced with character for life in the world. The worldly life in trade, in business, in community, with my neighbors, friend dealings, in all that, I have chosen the path of righteousness, truthfulness, sincerity, and have not even a liking for material or worldly things as others do. And I will say that although I could be wealthy and have land and houses in Persia, today I am living in a simple style I rent a house and have not an inch of land or any property in Persia. The result of my work is that whatever money I have, I spend on the education of my children and in other ways for the care of others that do not need description. I work free for the Iranian Red Cross for nearly 27 years without taking a penny in salary. The Red Cross is in service of humanity and others, the best aid that can be given to the needy at the time of disaster. I am happy that this is result that I have due to the life and due to the love that Meher Baba gave. J. Meher Baba.
As we've been progressing with the creation and its causes, which was what Baba taught the boys at the time of the Meher Ashram and then later Prem Ashram. I did some little bit of investigation and research to find out, the timing that the sobs and throbs started basically the, love flourishing in the boys compared to the time that Baba started giving the creation and its causes. And the booklet, Sobs and Throbs, which actually Ramjoo's Diaries covers most of it, was written at the time by Ramjoo and also by Chanji. And in Sobs and Throbs, it seems that, I'm going to go through some of the dates, that Baba started the school with only 10 Hindu boys in the beginning. And that started in May 1st of 1927. Now, this was before, the Meher Ashram boys from Iran came or anything like that. But officially, Meher Ashram started May 1st, 1927 with these 10 boys. And then when the 14 boys came from Iran, whom 2 were Muslim and 12 of them were Zoroastrians, and that was in July 17th of 1927. So that was basically about 2 months or a month and a half after Baba started the school. And then that was the time that a lot of other, boys from Iran but living in Bombay, whom they were called Mughals at the time. I guess they all came. They heard about, Meher Baba having this school, and there are so many boys that came from Iran, so we are here, so we might as well go check it out, see what's going on. And, as Meher has already probably mentioned, the school was for, or actually Abdullah mentioned in his talk, the school was for free accommodation, free boarding and basically everything for free, and education and all that. So these boys also got interested and came, and one of them was the hero, the Ali, Ali, which was Sayyid Ali, actually, they would call him. And he was the hero that would, run away from his father when father would take him away from Baba, and then he would come back again on foot. And for many times he did that, and Baba brought him to the West eventually with him in the 1930s, early 30s. You all know about that. But anyway, going back to the dates on 1st of September 1927, that was the time that Baba, actually the Mandalis, under Baba's instructions, started the spiritual classes. The spiritual classes were mainly, studying the literature of different religions, different perfect masters, and, all that were taught at the Hazrat Babajan High School And that was the time that Isfandi al-Vasali actually got interested in, you know, in seeing God because of that couplet from Sadi, who said, you know, man will get to a point that doesn't see anything except God. So see how high the abode of human being is. And رسد آدمی به جایی که به جز خدا نبیند بنگر که تا چه حد است مقام آدمیت. So that was around that time of September 1927. Now, when these classes started in September, then the boys attended, and then later on, Baba himself started, you know, giving sessions to not only the boys but also the mandalis, and that has started in on the 2nd of November of 1927, and you know. Baba often would tell the boys after, you know, these sessions that, you know, think of, try to concentrate, try to meditate, try to create love and, you know, love God. And then eventually he told them, you know, love me because I am God in human form. And anyway, that was in beginning of November almost. But anybody could attend that. Even the Mandalis attended those. And Baba stopped eating solid food at that time and just had tea and milk, sometimes only tea. And he conveyed actually to the boys through the alphabet board. And then he conveyed the importance of love, concentration, and meditation, and directly inspired the boys to divine aspiration. So that was the time. And then on 20th of November, that is when Sayyid Ali arrives with his father, and Baba tries to get a commitment. At first, Baba says, no, I don't want to accept him. But the father insisted, and he was about 14 years at the time. And then Baba agreed, you know, to accept him. But then the father said, "Oh no, you know, the food and food is not good here. It's all vegetarian, and it should be in a different." And Baba didn't like that. But the father's comment was, and eventually the father agreed to leave the boy there, and you know, and that the love story started at that time. I won't go through a detail of that, but that's, you know, love romance, that how a lover of God should long and love the beloved. And that's a good example at that time that Baba set through Sayyid Ali at the time. Now, 23rd of November, Baba starts a series of divine explanations. And again, you know, this was to the boys and the Mandali. And I'm going to stop here and read a little bit on, you know, the from the book of Sobs and Throbs, so you can see where the creation and its causes comes from, actually. Here, the series of the divine expectations starts in November 23rd. That His Holiness was pleased to convey since the 23rd of November, 2 days after arrival of Ali, made all the young and old who had the good fortune to be present at the time to hold their breath with amazement. From that day, the separate sections of the spiritual instruction classes, such as the Gujarati, Marathi, Urdu, and all that, and Persian, they were all postponed for some time. So that, you know, what the Mandalis were saying, Baba was conveying, and those were postponed. For more than a month after this date, the master continued to convey for a couple of hours every evening these explanations, and all the boys as well as the older disciples were held spellbound with rapt attention and enthusiasm. And the wonder of it was that the master did this merely through gestures and alphabet pointing, maintaining his grim silence throughout. Besides, he conveyed the deep subject matter as he alone can convey, in such a way that the little ones were no less interested and enthralled than they grow up. So they were all interested. They were all listening carefully. Since then, these have been compiled, and from a small booklet, which can well be styled Creation and Its Causes. So the name Creation and Its Causes was practically given at the time to these lectures that Baba was giving out to the boys. And that's where we get the Creation and Its Causes. But the lecture to the boys only, although were interpreted by the Mandaris in different languages to the boys, basically started in December 2nd, was the first lecture of this series, which now we have it as Creation and Its Causes. Although Creation and Its Causes covers the other lectures also at the end of the lectures to the boys, which came earlier, as we said, in November. It covers that too. So that is, kind of a overview of how this all came about, and all the subject matters in the book Creation and Its Causes was all came about. Now the beauty and the strange thing about all the notes or the lectures in the Creation and Its Causes is that Baba explained to these boys all about what this creation is actually, and how it came about, who made it this way that it is, and what are the religions. Talks about a lot of these things. And for one, just setting aside your prejudices about religion, race, caste, creed, and all that, and just sit back and listen to what Baba is talking about, it brings you to a numbness kind of a point that you say, if that is all what it is, then who am I? What am I? Why am I called Muslim, or why am I called Hindu or Zoroastrian? We all are one. What's the difference between us? If one lives in India, there is no difference between one living in India and one living in Iran, because we're all, from the same origin, the same Jivatma. We are all Atmas, but we should become Jivatmas, basically. So, I'm gonna, if everybody is interested, just give a brief overview of the December 2nd to maybe December 5th and 6th, if we have time, just to see what Baba talks about. It's wonderful. It's just so nicely put in into the words. I mean, it's really something unexpressible that Baba put into the words, and into simple words that the kids could understand. Now, if Afshin is there, can put figure 1 on the scene, it shows the seer and the universe. And who is the seer? Seer is God, God himself. And the universe, as Baba says, there are thousands and millions of universes woven together. I mean, it's just unimaginable. And no one can even count the number of these planets. Even the perfect masters cannot do that. And Baba explains why not, because, it creates duality, because as the creation unfolds, or basically is created, that is also been eliminated. And to count the creation, one has to stop the formation of all these spheres to be able to count. And stopping the formation causes the duality, and causes that the person, the Sadguru and the avatar, are the only maybe person who can count those, to lose their body, basically, and they can drop their body. Because Upasya Maharaj and Baba, one night they were, kind of trying to count the number of universes. Upasya counts, and then he gives up. He says, I can't do it. But Baba says, let me try. And then he's on the verge of, counting, and Upasya stops him and says, this is at the time that Baba was there with Upasya Maharaj. And then Upasya says, don't count, because you might have to drop your body at it. So anyway, that Baba explains to the boys and want them to realize that how massive the creation is, and how, then looking at the big picture, the big picture of all these planets that Baba says 18,000 of them have human life on them, and millions of these planets have subhuman life on them, then you can no longer really think that who you are. I mean, who am I? What am I? I mean, I am just a particle of dust at the feet of the master. What else can I be? So you can imagine how the kids would react to that. I mean, the kids came from different backgrounds, from different religion, from different castes. Even the 12 Hindu boys who started Baba, or 10 of the Hindu boys that Baba started the school with, they were from different castes, 3 different castes actually, in India. So, and then people came from Zoroastrian, Muslim, Christian, all these backgrounds from different countries also. They came, and Baba explained to them all about this creation and the religion and the prophets, and all of these made the kids forget about their differences and be united in love, think that if we are from the same essence, then we are the same. I mean, who are we to say I am better than the other? Now, in the December 2nd talk, Baba also on figure 2 talks about God, the creator, and and also God as the Jivatma, or soul in bondage. If you look at that figure, um, you see that God, A is God experiencing the I am God state. B is the point of creation, which is the own point, or or actually is the creator, preserver, and destroyer, because um, as Big Baba explains, the worlds are created and in the meantime, being destroyed at the same time. And C is God in the Jivatmas, are the individual souls, or are the drops in the ocean, basically, are the souls in bondage. And then Baba gives an example to the boys about a shopkeeper selling mirror. He says, if you want to see your own face, what do you need? Is you need a mirror. And uh, to get the mirror, you need money to get the mirror, or buy the mirror, basically. Otherwise, you will not be able to see your own face. So he says, one can strive to make money and then go to the shopkeeper, get the mirror, and eventually see his own face. And after he sees the face, then mirror is no use anymore. You can throw the mirror away. And then Baba explains the mirror. Um, he says that the shopkeeper is the Sadguru, is the perfect master, basically, that sells you the mirror, or sells you um, the grace, or gives you the grace of God's realization. And the money is basically the love for the Sadguru. So that's, Baba would give that example, and they say, now create love, and try love as much as you can. And then you will get the grace of the master, which is the mirror. And then you'll be able to see your own face, which is your own real self. And then, Baba talks about who is greater. Baba asks the boys, who is greater? Is Muhammad greater, or Allah, or Zoroaster greater, or Yazdan, or Ram greater, or anyway, the Prophet and the God in their own name, tells the boys. And then Baba says, definitely, the Prophet, basically, is greater, because he is the conscious soul in human form who can help. God is God the beyond, and is not even aware of this illusion, which is the creation. So that's another example that Baba gives to the boys. Then this is for December 2nd, some kind of a abbreviating, some of these. December 4th, Baba talks about Sharia, Tariqat, Marifat, and Tariqat, which is figure 3. Yeah, there you go. If you see the bottom part of this figure, Baba draws, the symbol of different religion. And Baba tells the boys, now, if those who are in Shariat, which is the religion, but they follow um, the religion to the extent possible, or to their best capacity, they would be able eventually to get into the path of spirituality, which is tariqat. And then eventually, some might go to marifat, which is knowledge, and then again, at last to haqiqat, which is the realization. Later on, Baba explains to the boys that it is not that easy for a soul to go from Shariat all the way to Hakikat, almost impossible because uh, because he talks about many different things that we later get into, but I give you a gist of it that the detail that Baba goes into explaining to the boys about every single item of all these. He says, he talks about the path to God, basically the tariqat, and he says that, for someone on the path even sometimes gets stuck and is not able to proceed and progress because of all the pitfalls and the the things that he sees that he gets attracted to and gets stuck. So he says the best and fastest and or the quickest and safest way would be to hold fast to the helm of the perfect master's garment. And what he meant was basically having a guru or a perfect master. And then Baba says that, I am that guru live at your present. I'm auctioning the spirituality to you all. All you have to pay is the love, the extreme love that you would have. And if you have that love, then, it's all yours. You'll get it. So he emphasizes on those loves and everything. Now, December 5th and 6th, Baba goes to a few figures here. Figure 4 is, Baba talks about, again, ocean of unconscious God, which is A, and then B, again, the creation or the on point, the creation point. And then through that creation point, you see C, which is all Atma bubbles or basically Jivatmas, or a drop soul or unconscious soul. And then D is the Shivatmas, which are souls who become God realized. The avatar, perfect masters, the 56, God realized souls who are present in the world at all the time are within that category of D. I didn't count the numbers, but the dots, but if you count the dots, you might end up with 56. I'm not sure, but this is just came to my mind. Anyway, Baba talks about, again, Baba talks about the creation point a lot. And then he says, he eventually tells the boys how this whole, the whole creation came about. We'll get to that. If you look at figure 5, again, Baba, has A as the God, the absolute, and B, on point, or God the creator. And then Baba tells the boys, what is a creation? What is a creation? And then Baba says the answer is, what is creation? Baba gives the answer, manifestation. And then Baba says, who or what is the creator? Who or what is the creator? And then says the same ocean when it started moving or creating. So God, the absolute on point, God the creator, and then basically when God, who was the absolute God, which was unconscious, and the urge, the initial urge came, and the movement that started in God, this whole creation came about through that on point. And then Baba explains that, the energy, Akash and Prem, they basically interact, and, the whole thing gets created. The gross world, the subtle world, the mental world, that the division between all these worlds, they all come to about for comes to existence, basically. Now, figure 6, it talks about God again, or we call it Darya. In Persian, we call it Darya, or God, the ocean. The infinite ocean is God. The creation point, or the on point, is there. And when that initial movement comes, then basically it's like a calm ocean. It starts moving and brings out waves, and the waves, when they break, they create foams and wave bubbles. I mean, even in the normal ocean, if you sit there and watch the waves for a while, you see that exactly the same thing happens. The foam comes, bubbles come, and the waves come and all that. And then Baba kind of says that, through the waves and bubbles, then we have the wave bubble, and which is the bubble within the wave bubble. And then that bubble, again, Baba breaks it down, says it's the atma, or the drop, and then Baba calls it the drop bubble also. So a drop bubble is within a wave bubble. The wave bubble is a lot of bubbles collected together. And again, Baba explains to the boys more detail of these. What are these wave bubbles, drop bubbles? He says every one of these wave bubbles are a universe. And some of these universes, they have human being on them. Some of them, they only have maybe metal on them. Some of them maybe only have metal and then, air in them. Some of them metal, air, and maybe vegetable, and on, basically. So, there are millions and millions and millions of these wave bubbles, or basically the universes. And then the last figures of December 6th and 5th is, if we put it on, Baba talks again, God as the Darya, or ocean, then the creator point, or the creation point, and point of creation, or the on point. And then, as we saw earlier, the wave and the wave bubble is there. But then, where is this coming from? When it's created, it's gone, or something is created into emptiness, hollowness, nothing. Baba calls it pukal. Basically, it's an imagination, it's hollowness. So the whole of this creation is nothing into nothing, basically, as Hafez and Rumi also refer to them, that is nothing into nothing. So, some of these is interesting when I go back to the Prem Ashram boys and the time and the things that they talked about. A lot of these get flashback to me, that are the things that they heard or learned at these talks. But again, at the end of all these talks, Baba would say, now that you heard of all these, it's nothing into nothing. It's basically, it has no value. And only God has value, and God is the only reality. and love. Love is the key to this mystery. You know, love me, love God. Try to create love. So he would emphasize at the end of every of these sessions, almost you can see and hear that Baba emphasizes to the boys, you know, try to create love, love me, and if you love me, I will make you the king, make you realize. Then Baba says, you know, I will put as many as I wish on the path, and even some will realize God. Further on, when we go into this book, Baba talks about, you know, the member of his circles, the people who are not even outside his circle. He says they could get God realized, and then he brings out examples of the avatars at the time of some of the avatar who did that, and then Baba said, I have the power to do it, to do that. I can make as many as you as I wish to realize God, and I will put you on the path, basically. I'm going to stop here. But I'm happy to share any of you guys' thoughts on those and reflections, or anything you guys want to add to that. Yeah, and also I want to ask, and Mernaz is probably going to ask also, to see how, if you guys like this, we can proceed in the future, kind of break this down and analyze it. I know there is a lot of YouTube that Ward Parks did on the creation and its causes, and a lot of read through, but some of these would be nice to get a different perspective from different angle, look at it from different angle, and see if we can put ourselves in those days and be with Baba in Prem Ashram or MEHER and try to create that love. Because as we all know, Baba's work was universal. I mean, he didn't do only something for only some individual. He came for the whole universe, and his work is universal. And to know that, then we can tap into the wave, or the timing of him, and to dance to his tune. Create that love that he was asking the boys to do.
Farshid is here to share. As you all know, he spent a lot of time with the Prem Ashram boys, Esfandiar Vesali, and his two uncles, of course. Farshid John, I want to ask you if you could kind of share about, one of the experiences that Esfandiar had. You mentioned that while he was with Baba, he was seeing actually a star coming out of his being. Can you talk a little bit about that with us?
Yes, and Baba talks about the plains and the skies in later lectures that he gives to the boys. And the plane, and when he's explaining those, he says what the plane is and what the skies are. He says the planes are like the stations that the soul is able to go from one station to the other station. Now the skies are like cities, and the cities are the pitfalls, basically. Because if one goes to the cities, the attractions in the cities, the firework, the music, the dancing, the wine, all the things in the cities might get one attracted to But Baba is giving, worldly example, but also in the spiritual manners about the same. Baba talks about that too. He says, the light that one sees can attract person to that light, and he can get stuck in that for years, for lifetimes. Or the melody that he hears, in the subtle world in the cities, or um, the fragrance and all that. So those are the cities. And then Baba talks about, the souls that go with the guru or the perfect master. Baba would take them through the plains, show them the cities from a distance, but will not let them go to the city. And that is what Esfandiar was experiencing. He was experiencing the city because, first of all, Baba talks about creation, the Mala, Pralaya, and also the destruction of the creation. So as it's created, it's destroyed, basically. And the stars come out means that, when one is in that city, he might get that experience of, okay, I'm part of the creator now, I'm creating. And he sees, the whole creation is coming out of him. But that is a pitfall, is an attraction of a city. And if one gets there, will get stuck. And he was experiencing that, but Esfander was experiencing that. But then Baba would come in the middle of the night. Baba knew what he's going through. So he would come and ask him, what are you experiencing? And then Esfander would explain, and then Baba would say, okay, stop now. Don't say no more. And now do this. Don't forget about that. Do this. So Baba would internally, Esfander would say that he would redirect me to something which I would think Baba would redirect him from the city to the plane. He would say, "Go to the plane, so or go to the station, so you can go, further. You can go thread the path." And that's how it was. A glimpse of the city experience. But the master doesn't let you do that. And even on the fourth plane of consciousness, if one goes without a guru, without a perfect master, one um, gets a temptation of using the power, because the power is infinite power that one has in his disposal. But in the meantime, the urge of using this power also becomes infinitely strong. And without a master, one uses the power, and then um, the whole consciousness breaks down, and the person comes to the rock consciousness, the stone consciousness. And that also happened for Aslandiar, that he, I don't want to go through the details of it, but he had this um, experience of infinite power. And then he said, okay, let me see if I can use this power to lift the book off the shelf. And he says, I tried to lift the book off the shelf and I couldn't. Then I said, well, let me see if I use this power to love Baba even more. And then he said, I used that power, and when I started loving, my love became infinite love and pure love, that I was swimming in that ocean of love. And it was not me anymore, it was him. So that is a good explanation that he gave for a soul, that Baba doesn't let them go to the city to use that power. He showed him that you have the power, but then he brought him back and pushed him to the fifth plane at that time. So the danger was past. And Baba explains about it, about these also again as we go further on into the subject, because He explains every pitfall on the path to the boys. And this is the time that he also encourages the boys to love more and more. And he also is helping them to get to, through the path, through the plains, basically. And a lot of these boys had different experiences, but Baba didn't let them use any of those um, um, powers or be stuck in them, and push them through all these.